Hey guys, this is Jay Calder with Jay Unboxing here giving you a personal prediction for Dmitry Bivol versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. And of course, this is just my personal take, but a pretty interesting fight, so definitely one I wanted to get out there. Would love to hear all your guys' picks and predictions down in the comments section below. As I mentioned, pretty interesting fight with a lot of fans going one way or the other, so love to hear all that down in the comments section below. A little bit of fight info here. We have Bivol versus Ramirez taking place at the ETIHAD Arena in Abu Dhabi. This will be airing on DAZN as a part of their Champions series, I believe it's called, because it will have the WBA light heavyweight title possessed by Bivol on the line. Now, not for nothing, but I really love this fight, and it's such a good one. Two unbeaten fighters who have some decent momentum going into this fight, and it's certainly something that you're always kind of looking forward to in boxing. It's sort of not one you might have expected would be so good, but as things happen to lay themselves out, it kind of becomes a pretty interesting fight with Ramirez and Bivol both remaining undefeated, and Bivol coming off of the big Canelo Alvarez win. You have a very exciting encounter that can kind of tell you a lot of what's going to happen at 175 pounds. Bivol clearly is the favorite, as he should be, but Ramirez has a solid shot and shouldn't be overlooked. He has a chance in this fight. Does Bivol keep his great run going, or will Zurdo remove Bivol's O and win his second title in as many weight classes? That's what we're here to answer, so let's break this one down. And we'll start with Bivol here. For Bivol to win, I think you want to land the lead right hand. Ramirez is simply open to the shot, so it's certainly something you want to get going. Bivol has a pretty fast backhand to begin with, so it's something you can definitely use and kind of switch things up from always having to jab. This also plays into Bivol using his speed, which I think he's going to want to do because he certainly has the speed advantage. So you might as well let the sort of the fluid punches that you're throwing get going, and that can happen by jabbing, but then switching it up with that backhand. Certainly something that I think will catch Ramirez off guard. He's not particularly good at defending against it, and especially if Bivol starts using some of those feints and herky-jerky movements that he can at times use, I think he'll land it to some great success. I would also say work the combinations. As I sort of alluded to, combos will be key. The kind of fluidity of your shots will matter, so let them build as you settle into the first few rounds, and you kind of find that perfect distance inside of the reach of Zurdo, who does have a little more reach than you. Your movement, your defense, and that speed will keep Ramirez a bit more at bay as you try to push back, even with those combinations, even though he has longer arms, simply because you're going to get to the target a lot faster than he will. Just make sure that isn't starting to lean into exchanges, as that possibly favors Ramirez. It's not that he's the biggest puncher in the world, though he has been on a KO run. You still just don't want to give him any of those kind of chances if unnecessary. Kind of land those shots you're looking to land, throw those combinations, then start pivoting or stepping to the side and back out of reach, and you should have some success. I would also say make Ramirez move backwards. And again, as I mentioned, get Ramirez going back. That's kind of going to be key for you. Ramirez, at his core, is a front foot fighter. If he's not doing that, it's not the best version of him, which is what you're looking to face if you're Bivol. Now, Zurdo's a bit better going backwards than some people think, but he's still not nearly as good as when he's stepping inside, so exploit that. Look to get this going by getting that jab busy, using those combinations, flustering him with your faster, sharper hands, and of course, peppering in that backhand as your lead as well to really kind of offset what he might be anticipating and score some points for yourself. Now, switching over to Zurdo, for Ramirez to win, I think you want to mix up the left hook. It's one of your best shots, so naturally it's going to be something you want to get going. However, don't just throw it upstairs. Don't make it so predictable. Bring that down, especially when you have Bivol with a high guard, and start throwing some shots to the body. Number one, it's an open target, but if it isn't, that means the guard has lowered, which opens up the shots upstairs. So it's a win-win if you can really get it working. If you are able to start taxing the body, of course, this will obviously slow Bivol down, start opening some more channels to the head, and of course will force him to have to stay and fight a bit more as it eliminates some of the movement for him. This will also help open up those kind of exchanges when Bivol tries to throw some of those combinations, and as he's doing so, we'll have to kind of think twice about a couple different locations than if you're always just headhunting. So again, make sure to mix it up. I would also say split the guard. That high guard of Bivol can trouble most fighters, a lot of them anyway. Most look to try to go around the guard. Instead, try splitting the guard. You can dig a left uppercut in there, and you have the reach to find the target if thrown at the right distance, even a little better than some others because your arms are pretty long. Utilize that to your advantage. This can also work if you're trying to lend the left to the body a few times, as mentioned, because you can throw to the body, then catch him off guard by turning it all the way up and going upstairs with that uppercut. And of course, if he has the guard he normally does, that might still be able to sneak in there and give you a good chance of scoring and possibly hurting your man. And finally, cut off the ring. Bivol loves to move and does so well. You have to be able to limit that. If you can't, you're going to have a really hard time in this fight. So push him back, yes, but once you get him back and into those corners, use your wingspan, your length, and those hooks, even the jab at times. Your foot placement's important here, just to kind of keep him there, because in those moments, that's when you can capitalize. If it's a middle-of-the-ring fight, you have to favor the faster, sharper puncher in Bivol. So look to encourage your odds by pushing him back. Be the bigger man, land the more meaningful shots, and do so by getting him up against the ropes or in those corners and keeping him there. Now, in terms of my pick here, as mentioned, I do believe Ramirez is a live dog, but I'm feeling Dmitry Bivol on this one, in my personal opinion. It might be close in stretches, but I think the speed and movement, coupled with the shot selection and combinations of Bivol, will be just too much and allow for him to be too far ahead in this fight for Zurdo to catch up. Bivol starts off fresh and strong, making it look a little bit easy as Zurdo's trying to get into the fight, but in those 4th and 5th rounds area, Zurdo may close the gap a bit more. Bivol, nonetheless, begins sort of working through those gears and starts letting go some of those blistering combinations to great success. Bivol will work Ramirez backwards in those mid to late rounds to create too much of a gap on the scorecards and do enough to ease into a comfortable decision down the stretch. Winner, Dmitry Bivol via unanimous decision. Now, in terms of the betting odds here, you have Bivol as a sizable favorite coming in at a minus 550, with Ramirez coming in at a plus 350. So again, Ramirez is a live dog, but a dog for a reason. While the odds are decent, and if you have a feeling about this fight, again, small to medium-sized bet, I always say it, but it's just, you have to be practical in these situations. That is kind of the bet range for you. You have to face facts that he is an underdog for a reason. Yes, he has solid power, but it's not as devastating as maybe his last few fights would have shown. He kind of wears you down more, but that's kind of been shown to be ineffective against Bivol. He's been stunned before, that being Ramirez, as has Bivol, but he's also slow-handed. And while he has been on a KO run, the comp has been suspect to say the least. Also, only time he's gotten stoppages after 8 rounds has been twice, and Bivol will likely be very sharp early. So the idea, of course, would be that he's going to at least last into those later rounds where perhaps the power of Ramirez tends to fade a bit more. So bet with caution. Didn't get a chance to find an over-under, but my guess is that the over-under will shade to a decision. That said, if you find a line near 8.5 to 9.5, take the over. Decision is likely, and a late stoppage to me seems the only other likely scenario, regardless of who happens to get it. So the over would be an attractive option there if you can find some decent odds to support it. And my prediction record as of October 17th is 32, 11, 1, and 10 exact. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts, your predictions, your bets, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you there. Of course, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.